Welcome to the Driven to Succeed Real Estate Podcast. I am Terry Cherwito along with my co-host Brett LaCoy,
Howdy.
Brandon Olson.
What's up, Terry?
What's up, boys? How we doing today?
It's not raining out, so that's good.
That's a bonus.
Hey,
bonus.
we've had a very good stretch
Yeah.
and we got Memorial Day coming up, and you might be getting this after the fact, but what we want to talk about today.
Boys, I want to talk about what the hell's going on in our country and interest rates. With if these two sides can't figure out a deal here,
Yeah.
I might have to make a sweet ass sign and stand on the corner in the morning.
Well, I love that. I love that reel you sent me this morning. That was so the government's $33 trillion in debt, but yet they give me a
They
credit
give
score.
me a credit score. Like, what is your credit score? You
Right.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I didn't pull rates this morning. Did you by chance?
Yeah, so I mean, it's, obviously I got a client under contract, and we were showing rates in the sixes last week, and showing payments in the sixes, and now they're under contract and it's 7.25, right? And
That's
it's
a
just
jump.
like, it's, yeah. So I had to do a little bit of management in expectations and so forth to say, here, we can buy it down, we can do this, but we've been talking about this. We've even looked at a projection.org, right? Is that what it is? Projections.org?
No, forecast.
Forecast.org.
Yes.
Which has been like historically correct over the last like 30
Not a
years.
huge-
Like,
yeah, like,
outside
there's
of
not-
predicting COVID.
Right, predicting COVID, and then the jobs report that fell outside their error margin, but their error margins are fairly small, and they've been fairly accurate.
Right.
But yeah, they were saying that something like this may happen, but,
And then it's going to slide back down.
but then it's going to slide back down,
with like 2 years from now being super low
being
rates.
super low rates.
Maybe not COVID level low
I don't think
rates.
we'll ever hit. I mean, they're not dumb enough to drop them that low.
I wouldn't put it past them.
No,
What do
hold
you
on a
mean?
second.
Hold on. You're giving way too much credit.
Terry,
There's
we're-
only water in here. There's only water in here.
I mean, we take a look at the beginning of COVID and then post-COVID, and we literally went from the lowest interest rates that have ever been around for mortgages
Right.
to the fastest growth in mortgage rates that we've ever seen. Not the highest we've ever seen in mortgage rates. Let's still remember that.
Right.
But this whole COVID pandemic situation, really, it's thrown everybody for a complete loop.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a quick synopsis of, okay, so we got a debt ceiling, threat of default by June 1st, and then you got Republicans and Democrats fighting over the budget and so forth, and both are stuck in the mud. Now, I personally think they aren't dumb enough. I want to believe
I don't think
they're
they
not
are
dumb
either.
enough
I don't think they
that
are
they're
either.
going to let it default. But there's some big people in power saying, if you don't do it now, it's going to happen later.
Right.
Or vice, if you guys can't figure it out, then it's going to be a problem, right? So we got the markets reacting over the last week because of this. Every day it's ticking up. And, we've jumped at least 3/8 of a point, if not a half a point, literally in the last 10 days. So you have that. They have the Fed saying, okay, well, inflation isn't coming back down. We have Saudi saying, we're not cutting oil.
Right. No, in fact, we're gonna cut production.
Yeah, we are cutting production.
We're cutting production, and what that's going to do is it's going to make it more expensive, which is inflationary. Correct? Am I saying that right?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And then we have our government saying we have to be clean energy, so we're not going to open any more leases on oil.
They closed down a bunch. They closed down a
Yep.
bunch at the beginning here.
Yep.
Said we're not going to do this anymore, and that's kind of put us in a precarious position.
I think we
Right.
should not elected officials, if they do not settle on this, they should not have to get paid. Because if they can't do their job, why are you getting paid?
I would take it a
You know?
step further than that, Terry. I think that they should be in jail,
Well,
and
yeah,
they should have their personal finances audited.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how.
that's a whole nother freaking
Yeah.
topic. That,
Yeah, that is. That is.
that's
We
when
won't-
that's when we will drink. That's when we're gonna drink
That's
that
when
day.
that water
yeah.
bottle is vodka, not
Yeah,
water.
I mean,
it's
to the Fed, in order to get inflation down, their opinion is let's raise rates as high as we can to stop the spending, and
people are making more
enforce
money.
companies to cut their costs and do this to sell product to bring the inflation down. But what I don't understand, and again, I'm not a
Consumers
Harvard
are still
grad, but-
spending money, though. That's
Right.
the problem. It's not going to stop them.
Well, you have to. I mean, you have to spend the money on your groceries because the grocery store
Right.
says your eggs are this much, your milk is this much, your this. But the cost to make all of these goods have gone up. The cost for employment have gone up. The energy cost. Energy is the number one driver of inflation. If it costs more to make something, you have to charge more as a distributor, from the top on down. You have to charge more.
I gotta
right?
get
Well, and I
gotta get my own chickens.
Well, right. Well, and I was just thinking about that, but I mean, but then I also take a look at, okay, I think some of the distributors have also been taking advantage of
Sure they
this.
have.
Because
Why wouldn't they?
Well, why wouldn't they? Well, we still take a look at new construction costs, how much lumber had gone up, how much everything had gone up, and they were like, well, we found out that the market can bear this, so why would we go back down? Because we have plenty of trees right now.
Well, the lumber has come down.
It has come down, but it's still expensive.
But they're still charging
It's
the same.
It's still way too expensive to go build a home. You can't go out and build a starter home with the lot and everything all in for $250,000 anymore.
No,
Nope,
not
not
at
a
all.
chance.
It's not going to happen.
No.
You
I mean,
could
the
if it's
cost
got
of the
wheels on
land-
it and it's called a trailer.
Right. What? You can tow it off your lot?
Yeah.
If I don't make the payment, can they come tow it away? No, it's we can go on and on. There's so many sides to it, and we can't get too deep in the weeds on it. But the simple fact of the matter is, right now there's a bunch of fear mongering. There's all this stuff. It's driving the rates up. So like people that are under contract in a home right now, or just got under contract, haven't locked in a rate. What do? Do we see what happens? Do we see what now? Now, what do we have? We have a great product.
Yes.
So our float down product. So we lock in a rate, which I just did like 20 minutes ago. Locked in a rate 7.24% with a 0.25% buy down. So essentially, that's $250 every $100,000. So it costs us $831 to buy the rate, or for this additional cost. So if they settle on the debt ceiling, they get that done, we're not going to default, and the Fed says, hey, we're not going to raise rates in June, we're likely to see it start going the other
Yeah,
direction.
exactly.
And if I can get back to like a 6.875 or 6.75
Fine,
rate, our
fine.
payment's $120 cheaper on this house.
One-
Right? So they paid $830 for that gamble, but at the same time, if we don't and it goes the other way, we don't lock and like it goes to 7.5, 7.75.
Right.
Now they're paying $125 more on the house.
Right, and that will pay for itself within 1 year.
Right. So it is what it is. We're in this precarious environment, and it's a struggle for home buyers right now, and lenders. A lot of lenders have had difficulties even keeping their doors open. They're
Right.
bleeding money. They've had to cut,
Well, there's just not-
positions across the board.
Right. Well, there's not as many people out there buying right now. But what has happened to the real estate market by itself through all of this chaos? Have prices really gone down?
No,
No.
but we are.
And people are
year over-
offering more.
We are
you know?
year over year, and part of the reason is year over year we are less homes today on market.
Right.
We have a 1.5 month supply of homes today on the market, and that is all homes, right? And so you got the bigger homes that are going to last a little longer, but you have the
Yeah.
lower. First time home buyers are really the only ones really buying, unless somebody else is getting relocated and
Their
so
families
forth.
growing.
Have you guys noticed though? So I don't know if it's just me. In the last 30 days, things have changed. All my shoppers would always call me every week. Terry, what are rates? What are rates going on? I'm like, blah blah blah. Here's they are. 3 weeks ago, dead silence. Not one of my shoppers has asked me for a rate. Not one of them. They don't care right now. Well, they might, but they don't care because they just want a house. So now I have clients willing to go $30,000 over, guaranteed 15% of the appraisal gap. Didn't care about the rate. I just want a house now. So you're willing to go that much over. People aren't. Nobody's asked me about a rate. They're like, yeah, whatever. I just want a house.
Well, lucky you, Terry.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, obviously I have to stay under a certain amount, but it's like, I mean, nobody's even brought it up, which is really weird to me
Right. Well, I think too what's happening
because
is
there's
people
no
are starting-
houses.
Well, there's no houses, and that's what people are finding out is that it's not the rate that's the big thing that
Barrier.
you need to look for. It's the actual
It's
house.
the actual house
Getting
now.
into the actual
I want a house. We'll talk about rate after we get a PA.
Right. We could talk about rate. Remember, you know, if what we're hearing from every source is in the next 2 years, rates are going to come down.
Well,
You're going to be able to refinance. And if you're used to
where's that
payment-
crystal ball down there?
Yeah, there's
Let's grab
that
it.
crystal ball. But let's say that that's true. You might even be able, if you're used to that payment, then you might be able to refinance to a 15-year and shave off at that point it would be another 13 years off of paying for that mortgage.
Right. Which
not a
I mean,
bad-
now
There's
you're
all
talking-
sorts of options.
Now you're talking a couple $100,000 on, say, a $350,000 house,
Absolutely.
right? So I mean, it is huge, and you know that's where that last year we talked about it, and you even hear it somewhat today. Not as often was what you heard all year last year's, is marry the house, date the rate,
Right.
And so forth. So that saying kind of got overused, but it is true. It's absolutely 100% true. And what I've seen increasingly too is when I'm getting shopped, another lender, they'll say, we got 5.9% rate. And like, how are you so high? My clients are asking me, I'm like, well, did you look at the actual closing cost?
Right.
There's 3.5 points to get there. There's
Right.
$11,000 for this house to get to that
Right.
5.9. Oh, really? Like, I didn't
Which could
realize
be
that.
Yeah,
You know,
I can do this.
imagination
I can do
is
the same thing.
Bait and switch, baby.
I
bait
can
and
do the
switch.
same thing for
Right.
you. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I can get you 5.9, but why would you spend 11 grand if in a year or 2 years we're even lower rates than that in the first place, and you just refinance? So what's another good product that New American Funding
Well,
offers?
I think what you're getting at there, Brandon, is our 5-year rate protection pledge.
Yes, let's get
Where-
another plug in.
Yeah, where we get to go ahead and we get to waive all the lender fees when you refinance with us.
And your appraisal
Your appraisal is paid for.
Yes. So it's huge.
saves you a
obviously-
couple $1,000s, or even up to a few $1,000s. It all depends, but that's huge.
It is huge.
Every little bit
It's
helps.
$2 grand. It's $2 grand.
Yeah.
'cause it's-
Yeah.
And with us holding the mortgage servicing rights, and we're the mortgage servicer, then we also have your escrows too. So it's a nice smooth transition into the next refi. So we know it's likely to happen. I mean, there could be some catastrophic events that causes it not to.
Right. For
But-
the rate to not go down.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, in all intents and purposes, we look at all the charts and so forth. It's likely to happen.
Right. We can only make our best guess.
We just got to keep an eye on, see what they're going to do.
Yes,
If I
so-
mean, that's the name of the game right there, and we will all know within about a week here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
if you
Right.
come back on our next show and you're watching us and we look hungover and I have hair, it means shit hit
Well,
the
I'm
fan.
gonna say the crystal
If we
ball
all
does
have
not
hair, if we all have
give you
hair,
hair.
shit's gonna hit the fan, everybody. And you will find me on that corner, so stop by, give us some change.
Right,
That'll be nice. And
So, in a nutshell, to wrap up this conversation, rates are higher today. Are they going to go higher in the short term? Potentially. Are they going to go longer or shorter in the long term, or lower in the long term? Yes, likely.
Yes. Most likely.
but get approved now. Let's start let's
Yes.
start now.
Yes.
Don't wait.
Because let's before we wrap it up completely, when we're talking such a low interest, like we're low housing inventory, right? When rates do go lower, the inventory is going to go up, but so will the buyers, because all these
right.
buyers that couldn't buy a home
Now they're gonna-
going to be able to afford that.
So
home.
no, inventory will go down.
No, more people put their house up for sale.
More people. will put their-
65% of people right now have a 3.25% interest rate or
Right,
lower,
okay,
which
I see what you're
which
saying.
is why they don't want to sell their house to go to a 7% interest
No.
rate.
I don't
like,
blame
how do you?
them.
how-
What's gonna be? What's like? Didn't we talk about this the other day? What's gonna be the feeding frenzy? What number will be the feeding frenzy? I think it's 5.5.
5.5 is the number.
I think
Because
5.5
if
is
you're
the
at
number.
3.25,
Like, I'll sell
but
my
now you
house
can
at
go
5.5.
You can go up into the next home and it's not a $2,000 a
Right.
month increase. It's a, you know, it's
Right.
Yep.
you
I
got
think-
equity in your home. That's what's going to be the driver of that. So I think 5.5 rate is where we're going to see that sometime in 2024. What I would love to see it this year, but we'll see. We got to muddle through it. But if you are looking to buy a home today, you might as well buy today. And then because the prices of the homes aren't, I mean, I just cringe when anybody says there's going to be a crash. We are 6 million homes behind where we should be. And that isn't going to change overnight, period.
That's not even going to change in the next
15
few
years.
15, 20. This is
If-
a long play.
if
But
we-
we're getting in the weeds on this, and we keep on going, and we're gonna go over our time limit.
So.
Team, lead us out.
Thank you guys for showing up to the craziness today, and we will always have more for you going forward. Thanks for being here today, Brett and Brandon. And
Absolutely.
that's
Like
where
everybody
and subscribe.
Hosting
like and
today.
subscribe, and we'll go from there. So thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks all.